The Adventure of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain Longman Simplified English Series Read by Narumon Pansamrong Chapter 14 The Storm About midnight Joe awoke and called the boys. There was a waiting stillness in the air that seemed to threaten something. The boys sought the friendly companionship of the fire in spite of the dead heat of the breathless air. They sat still and expectant. Beyond the light of the fires, everything was swallowed up in the blackness. Presently, a weak flash of lightning lit the trees for a moment and vanished. Another came a little stronger, then another, then a faint moan came sight through the branches, and the boys trembled, fancying that some spirit of the night has gone by. There was a pause, now a terrible flash turned night into day and shore, separate and distant, very little grass blades that grew about their feet. It showed three white starlit flags too. A deep roar of thunder went racing across the sky and lost itself in the distance. A cool breeze sprang up. It shook all the leaves and scarlet edge about the fire. Another fire flash lit up the forest, and a cat followed that same to tear the tree tops right over the boys' heads. They held on to each other in terror in the thick gloom that followed. A few big raindrops fell upon the leaf. "Quick, boys, go for the tent!" exclaimed Tom. They leapt away, stumbling over roots in the dark, each dashing in a different direction. A furious wind rolled through the trees, making everything sing as it went. One blinding flash after another came, and roll upon roll of deafening thunder. And now the rain poured down, and the rising wind drove it in sheets along the ground. The boys cried out to each other, but the howling wind and the rolling thunder drowned their voices until, however, one by one, they staggered in at last and took shelter under the tent, cool fastening and streaming with water. The old sail beat about so furiously that they could not talk, even if the author's noises had allowed them. The storm rose higher and higher, and presently the sail tore loose from its fastenings and went flying away on the white. The boys seized each other's hands and fled, with many stumbling and rushed to the shelter of a great oak that stood upon the river bank. Now the battle was at its height. Under the ceaseless flash that flamed in the sky, everything below the bending trees, the river white with foam, the dim outlines of the cliffs on the other side seen through the racing cloud, and the whir of rain stood out the clean-cut and shadowless distance from town to town. Some Ghent three-unit in the fire and felt crashing through. The younger girls, the thunder came now in ear-splitting, explosive bursts, pitilessly keen and unspeakable, artful. But at last the battle was over, and the forker of nature retired with vigor and vigor tread, and peace returned. The boys went back to camp a good deal at, but they found that there was still something to be thankful for, because the great tree, which had been the shelter of their beds, was a ruin now, split by the lightning. Everything in the camp was wet through. The campfires as well. Here was a disaster, for they were wet to the skin and shivering. However, they discovered that the fire had eaten so far up the great log against which it had been built that a few inches had escaped. Waiting, they patiently worked at it with leaf and bark grated from the underside of sheltered logs until they persuaded it to burn again. Then they piled on great dead branches till they had a rolling blaze. They dried their food and had a feast. After that, they sat by the fire and glorified their midnight adventure until morning, for there was not a bright spot to sleep on anywhere around. As the sun grew stronger, the boys felt sleepy, and they went out on the sandbar and lay down. They were soon burned out by the sun, and wearily began to prepare breakfast. After the meal, they felt stuffed, joyed, and a little homesick once more. Tom saw this things and tried to cheer up the pirate as well as he could, but they cared nothing for marbles or circuses or swimming or anything. He proposed that they should stop being pirates for a time and be red Indians for a change. They were attracted by this idea. It was not long before they were stripped and stripped from head to heel with black mud, all of them chief of course, and then they went dancing through the woods to attack an English settlement. Afterwards, they separated into three revolt tribes and spring out upon each other from hiding place with dreadful war cry and kill and skin each other by thousands. It was a bloody day, and therefore was a satisfactory one. They assembled in camp towards supper in time, hungry and happy. But now a difficulty across Indian tribes at war with each other could not break bread together without first making peace, and this was simply an impossibility without smoking and pipes of peat. Two of the redskins almost wished that they had remained pirates. However, there was no other way, so with as much cheerfulness as they could pretend, they called for the pipe and took their puff. As it passed with proper ceremony, they were glad that they had become redskins, for they found that they could now smoke a little without having to go and hunt for a loose knife. They did not get sick enough to be seriously uncomfortable. They practiced courteously after supper with fair ceases, and so they spent a joyful evening.